Hi everybody. Today our lecture. Hi everybody. Today our lecture is about complex sentences. After we tackled simple sentences and compound sentences, today we are going to talk about complex sentences. A complex sentence combines an independent clause with one or more dependent clauses. And we also said this before when we were studying in our lectures at the college. We said that the complex sentence should contain at least of one independent clause and two or more than two dependent clauses. A complex sentence always has a subordinate conjunction word. For example, Scott wore his football boots because he was playing soccer. Now, what is the subordinating conjunction? It is the word because. It campaigns between the first clause, which is independent one, Scott wore his football boots, and the second clause, which is dependent one, he was playing soccer. Now, he was playing soccer. This is called dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. Now, we would say how it cannot stand alone because the word because it is linked within this clause and you cannot put it out of it. Now the whole clause, it doesn't start from the word he. No, it starts from because. So we call this, all of it, subordinate conjunction clause. Okay? Now, we are going to talk about the form of the complex sentence in details as you see in the bracket. The complex sentence, you have many clause, which is called independent clause, which means it can stand alone, plus, as you see, there's a bracket, conjunction plus dependent clause. In some types of subordinating conjunction, we can change the places of the clauses. We cannot do this within all types of clauses which are within complex sentences. Now, within the clause that we are going to deal with in today, we can do this. What is this? We can change the place of the conjunction and dependent clause to be at the beginning, and then we have the main clause. For example, as we have in the example above, I can say because he was playing, who is he? I have now to mention his name because I put it at the beginning. Because Scott was playing soccer, he wore his football boots. So what did I do? I shift the whole second clause to be at the beginning, and when I'm doing this, I am not going to put a comma because there is no need for a comma. Now, what are subordinating conjunctions? Its job, their job, the subordinating conjunctions, their job is to join an independent clause to dependent one. They can be at the beginning or in the middle, and some of them could be at the end. We don't have them right now, which can be at the end, but later on when we are going to discuss the complex sentences, the other types of clauses which are included within the complex sentences, you will see that there are examples where we can find the conjunction word at the end of the sentence. Well, after that, we have examples of subordinating conjunctions. If you don't know them, there is a list of these words. First of all, we are going to start within the time clauses. The rest of the lecture would be about the time clauses as one type of clauses that can be found in a complex sentence. What do I mean? What is meant by that? It is not necessary to find only time clauses and then we will say that this is a complex sentence. No, there are other types of clauses that when they are within the sentence, this sentence, it is called complex sentence. For example, time clause, one of them. A relative adjectival clause also. This kind of a clause, if you have it within a sentence, so surely this sentence is considered as a complex sentence. Now, whether it is complex sentence alone or complex compound sentence, it depends. Then we have, after that, we have what I want you to remember some things. Now, we don't use a future form or a conditional tense in a time clause. And within the dependent clause, we don't have such a structure. Which structure? The future form. I gave you examples, and I want you to study them. For example, I will phone you when I get home from work. Now, the second clause, which is the time clause, which starts with the word when. Now, this cannot be in the future form or a conditional, because why it is cannot be within a conditional? Because it has a conjunction word which is when. So how can you make it what? Make it a future form. I don't talk about conditional sentences. I am talking about time clause within a sentence. Don't mix between the two. And one of you would say, well, miss, we can use if, and if, so for example, I would say, if you go here, you will. No, you will. This is within the independent clause. If condition, independent clause, it takes either the simple future or the past simple or the present perfect. We have these three kinds. First state of conditional clause, second and third state. We don't have will within if clause. Okay. The second example, before I go, I'd like to talk to you. Now, before I go, this is within the present symbol. The second one, I would like, it has this reference of futurity, even though it doesn't refer to future. Okay, I am going to swim. Now, I am going. This is I am going. It is. It has a reference to what? To the futurity, because we are using I am going. I'm going. This is within the independent clause. The dependent clause, while I am on holiday, this is in the present symbol. And you have the other examples. They are all the same. If you have a question, you can ask me, and I am going to answer you helpfully. The second note is that the present perfect tense can be used after the following words: when, after, until, as soon as. And I gave you examples. Can be used, not necessary to be used. And it doesn't mean that we cannot find other tenses. Can be used. When I have called Tom, we can have supper. Now, when I've called Tom, we can have supper. Okay, the first one, which is within the present perfect. I say first I will call Tom, and after that we can have supper. Why I didn't say when I will call Tom? Because we said we cannot use future tense or future form within the dependent clause, which are carrying time clauses. Time conjunction word اللي هي when. The second example, when you have had your supper, come and see me. You cannot say when you will have had your supper. Why? Because the same idea that future form cannot be used within time clause. He won't be getting married until he has saved enough money. Okay, so there's a mistake here. I have to change it. I don't know why there's a mistake. Okay, I'm going to change it, and you change it within your files, PDF files. Okay, until he has saved enough money. The third note is that don't use present perfect if the two actions happen together at the same time. As an example, when I call Tom, I'll ask him about the journey. We cannot say when I have called Tom. No, because these two actions When I call home Tom, this is when I call Tom. It means that the action will be in the future. The action will be in the future, and the tense here is used in a present symbol. And you know, one of the function of the present symbol is that we can use it to refer to the futurity. Okay, so I use here present symbol to refer to the future. I don't use the future form. Okay, the meaning of this example: when I call Tom, I'll ask him. I didn't call Tom yet. Okay, so when I call Tom, I will ask him about the journey, and I cannot say when I've called Tom. Why? Because these two actions are going to happen together at the same time: telling, calling, and asking. Okay. And the fourth note is that we can use either the present simple or the present perfect in the following situations. I'll come as soon as I finish, or I can say I'll come as soon as I have finished. Both of them are correct, and you can use any one of them. It depends upon your purpose, or what do you want to say. You will feel better after you have something to eat, or you can say you will feel better after you have had something to eat. And of course, all these examples, you can shift the other clause to be at the beginning and the vice versa. For example, after you have had something to eat, comma, you will feel better. Okay, so we showed this and we discussed this before. There's no need to repeat the idea within every example. The fourth note is that we use a comma when the adverbial clause comes first. And we said this, one of the structure of the complex sentence. If you use the subordinating conjunction clause at the beginning, so you have to put the comma to separate between the first clause and the second one. The first clause would be the dependent clause, and the second one would be the independent clause. For example, when he finished reading his book, now you have to put a comma. He returned it to the library. If I change it, and putting the dependent clause at the beginning, he returned the book. I have to say he returned the book because I can't say it from the beginning. You know, this is the first time I mention the word the book. I have to say he returned the book to the library when he finished reading it. Okay. Now, in the second case, you don't have to put the comma. While you are cooking breakfast, comma, I will make the beds. If I change it, I would say, I will make the beds. Now, there is no need for a comma because I'm going to put the conjunction word, which is while you are cooking breakfast. And the others are what? More examples, and you can get benefit of the tenses that are used within all these examples. The next note that I want you to know: the present perfect is often used after once, and know that once we have built the house, we can move it. Of course, there is the sense of the futurity in the whole of the sentence. The time we finishing the building of our house, we can move in. Okay, so it means that we didn't finish the building of our house, and so we cannot move in it. The second example: now that we have built the house, we can move in. Okay, the second one: now that we have built the house, we can move in. Now, within the second example, now that we have built the house, it means that we finished the building of the house. And this is also you have learned from the last year within the using of the present perfect. Sometimes present perfect it refers to the thing that it started in the past, and either it ends to the present moment, the close present moment to the present time, or it has that meaning of what of referring to the future. So within the second example, it means that we finished building the house. When? Now, at the present time, the very close moment to the present time. Now we can move what? To the house. The last thing I think we use whenever, every time, or each time, if we want to say that something always happened or happens in particular circumstances. For example, when he talks about politics, he does sound like frantic. Now, I want to ask you, what is the purpose of the word does here in this sentence? Can you answer me? Okay. And the second one, whenever he had a cold, he drank a lot of juice. The third one, every time I go to the dentist, I panic. Now, the last example, we don't normally use the future time in time clauses, and we said this before. All the will can used after when in noun clauses. Now, pay attention to this example. The boss wants to know when we will be placing an order. This sentence is not a complex sentence within the time clause type. If you look at it carefully, let us classify the words in this sentence. The boss, this is the subject, wants, this is the verb, wants to know, this is wants to know it is a non-finite verb, and we discuss what is the meaning of non-finite verb. When we will be placing an order. Now, when we will be placing the order, its place, it is not as a separate the subject. You know, the meaning of the sentence, the boss wants to know something. What is that thing? When we will be placing an order. Okay? And you look at the end, it is a questioning mark. So this is what? This is just like a question within the sentence. When we will be placing an order. It is not a time clause. Actually, it is a time clause taking the place of something within the original clause, which is the dependent clause. Yani, you would say, how is that? I would give you another example. I will travel to London at the end of the week. Now, at the end of the week, what do we call this? This is a time prepositional a phrase. Okay? Phrase, it is not a clause. It takes the place of a certain place in a sentence. The same thing here, but this is not a phrase, this is a clause. It takes place within the original sentence. Let us look at it for the second time. The boss wants to know something. What is that thing? When we will be placing an order. There is continuity in the meaning, not like the other one. Yani, if I say the boss wants to know and stop talking, which can you say that this is independent clause? No, it is not independent clause because you missed something. The boss wants to know the rest of the sentence. Try it. try to say for anyone, the boss wants to know. He wants to know what? Yes, continue. He wants to know what? There is something missing in this sentence. Okay? I hope now you get the idea. What else? I want you to go back to note number, let me check. Note number 2. 2? No. Note number 1. اللي هي we don't use future. Note number 1 and go to sentence number 5. What do you want to be when you grow up? This is something similar to the last one. Why? Because there is what do you want to be? This is a questioning clause, okay? And this is the dependent clause. What do you want to be when you grow up? When you grow up. Also, this is not, this sentence has a time clause, but also it has a WH questioning clause. Okay, so we consider this sentence a complex sentence because of two things. There's a WH questioning clause and time clause. And don't bother yourself within what is meant by WH questioning clause because we are going to discuss it later on. In our next lecture, we are going to talk about relative clauses as a kind of clauses that can be within complex sentence. Today we finished within time clauses. Next lecture, we are going to talk about relative adjectival clauses as one type of clauses that can be used within complex sentences. So what?